Hello, ladies and gentlemen. I have decided to give something a try, right? Which is talking about real measurement on camera. And this video is actually rather focused to the professionals in our industry that don't do real measurements. I know that's quite the undertaking. Some might say it's pointless, but to be honest, I've done things in my life that are more pointless than this. And I think making people talk is not pointless. I just want to make sure that everybody knows I'm not trying to say that one thing is bad, one is not. There's many approaches and a lot of them can be valid and great and true. So I decided to just talk about a bunch of parts real quick. First of all, why I think everybody should be doing it. When we should do it, in which case we should do it, in which cases it would be excusable to not do it, so I try to consider that as well. And also kind of how to do it. I'm not going to get into the details. Depending on how you look at the details, you might say, well, that's why I don't do it. Which is why I decided to just cover how it can be applied in practice. So why would anyone ever do real measurement? So ironically, I was thinking who to make this video for actually. And I came to the conclusion that it would be obviously to the ones that don't do it, because the ones that do in fact do it, while also knowing why they do it, to them I don't actually have to explain it because they come to the same conclusions. Because the conclusions we come to aren't based around opinions, but physics. So if I drop this is not my opinion, this is physics, that's gravity, right? The way my words, the sound waves reach the microphone of my phone is also not based around opinions, it's based on how the air molecules behave, which I can't really change. I mean, I can affect it, depending on the frequency and intensity and whatnot. But it's mainly based on how the air molecules move and how they interact with the surrounding, which is very important, right? Because depending on the surrounding, air molecules behave differently, Yeah. So similarly as in earpieces, custom earpieces, depending on the vent that one chooses, there's different acoustic effects that you can achieve, right? Because as you may or may not know, for example, two different radii, I think that's a plural word of radius, two different radii of tubes behave in a way like a medium border. I'm not sure if that's the right English word, probably not. But for example, when one person is underwater, one person is in the air, shouts at them, they don't hear much because of the medium change, right? Two different radii behave a little bit similarly, even though they're both filled with air, which shows that air behaves differently in some. So why would we do it, right? All of us, we do the audiogram. And now I'm gonna make examples that aren't actually exactly how it works. I am aware, which I'm just adding because I'm talking to professionals, right? But just to make you imagine something. This is like the audiogram, right? 0. This is where best hearing would be achieved and best speech intelligibility and whatnot, right? Over here. Okay. And now imagine we have an object, for example, a car that makes a certain sound. For example, 70 decibels or something, okay? Doesn't matter how much. 70. Across all frequencies, let's just put 70 decibels on it, so they should hear the thing that's making the sound normally again, right? Lacking 70, giving 70. Sounds good. It's not what happens now, basically. But you would think that then you're here. You're not. And why? Imagine the thing that makes the sound now. The car or the speaker, for example. Receiver, right? Out here, it makes a certain sound. The car makes a certain sound. But if we drive into a tunnel, I'm from Switzerland, we got loads of tunnels here. Depending on the tunnel, it will sound different, right? we pretty much all know that the car will sound different if you drive into a tunnel, but depending on the tunnel, it also sounds different. The echo, you could say the resonances, the echo is different. And why? Because every object, not just tunnels, not just ear canals, every object has a resonance frequency, right? We actually know the resonance frequency of the ear canal is around 3000 hertz, right? Besides the point. But everything has a, in German we say own frequency. It's like a resonance frequency, right? We can measure that by taking a microphone, standing inside the tunnel, making a sound of maybe 65 decibels, for example, checking across all the frequencies what reaches the microphone, right? And we check. And then you would say, okay, this is 0 decibels discrepancy from the signal that I played. You would think, well, I played 65 decibel, so it's gonna reach 65 decibel. No, it doesn't. At 3000 kilohertz, and I'm no expert, right, in terms of like physics. I know some, what's it called, scientists. I can just imagine things very well and understand physics quite well. Mathematics? Nah, forget it. Anyway, 3000 hertz, 3 kilohertz, is where the own frequency, the resonance frequency is. Which means that if you give in a certain input, impulse, it will be essentially amplified, or the object will react the most, swing the most at that frequency. And we know it's 3000 hertz. So what happens actually is we take the microphone, and it's not this, it's something, almost, something like this. And that can be up to 20 decibels louder, usually around 17 point something, decibels louder than the input signal that you gave. 6 decibels is a doubling of SPL, sound pressure level. You have to beat something twice as hard, for example, or to have the double intensity, which means your eardrum is getting beaten twice as hard, basically, every 6 decibels. That's almost 20 decibels, okay? Right. So if you amplify this, that's not what reaches. This comes with it. Now my graph actually ends here, right? But still does this look like it's supposed to be there? I don't think so. 3000 hertz is a pretty high frequency. Have you ever heard of people saying it sounds too aggressive, too tinny, all that stuff, right? You can just reduce the high frequency, sure, but it's not gonna be like this. It's gonna be like this, okay? So instead of this, it will be like this. There will be some now that still have less, amplification. It will sound better than it did before. But this person is lacking a bunch of stuff now, right? A bunch of amplification that this person desperately needs, especially in Germanic languages where consonants are pretty essential. Okay, so that's the physics part, right? When should we use it? I think pretty much always. I think we should use it like always in every fitting. Now, when should we use it? I think the best formulation is we should use it whenever we want the device to perform at its best. When we want to make sure that the client gets the most performance for their money. When we want to provide the best performance to price ratio. I think us being able to do relay measurements is a big factor why even a cheap, proper hearing aid will perform better than a higher end OTC that you cannot fit via relay measurement. And why can you not fit via REM? You can measure it, but you can't adjust the frequencies according, because you will see, oh damn, In some frequencies it's too much, in some too little. You only have 3 sliders in the equalizer, so what you're gonna do? Reduce this, okay? Reduce this, amplify this. So this is gonna be like something like this. And this is gonna be something like this. Okay, great. Does that look much better? What the heck is this? That's not professional. I mean, that's the mountains here in Switzerland. Okay? What we can do to make sure that this result wouldn't happen would be really measurement and readjusting this channel, this channel, this channel, this channel to a median kind of. Alright? And please hold on. I know you're probably thinking, well, this median is based around averages. The manufacturer's target amplification is also based around averages, and it doesn't even know in which type of tunnel or acoustic environment the device is in. It doesn't know what it has to do in order for the sound to be clear at the end of the tunnel. We know if we measure, we know. We actually, technically speaking, you will already be able to do a great fitting without a target amplification. Just by understanding and seeing and really getting and understanding what's happening inside the eardrum. The target amplification is just kind of an orientation and a bonus, can help, can also not, right? In some cases, but in most cases actually, it does. Okay, and now it gets interesting, right? When not. Didn't think that from me, huh? Didn't think I would come up with reasons when to not do it. Because I said before, always do it. The point is though, there is certain subjective procedures in which it is excusable to not do it. It's gonna be more successful if you do in fact do it, but if you insist, don't do it, okay? For example, basically what has to happen in the subjective fitting is that you find a way, that you have a way. That's a frequency band, right? It's like 125, 8 or something. Yeah, whatever. That you can check the necessary amplification in all of these frequency bands, okay? According to their perception of the person, right? Check in this frequency band, okay, what is MCL here? What is MCL there? What is MCL there? Most comfortable level, right? So you could always find the average, depending on their dynamic, whatever they all have in their audiogram. That's pretty cool, if you can do that. What could still happen is, zoom in into such a thing, right? What could happen is, there could also be a resonance that you're not aware of. Something like this could happen. The average sounds pretty okay, the average. But what if you're missing some stuff here, or if this is too loud? Why not do both? And then you know, oh damn, this is actually too much. The client only thinks this is normal level because this is too loud. He's actually lacking stuff here. Let's amplify this, reduce this. It's still gonna be comfortable, but he actually gets what he needs. But if you insist, this would already be fantastic, right? But just asking, how is it? First fit, how is it? Is it good? Is it tinny? Is it not tinny? It won't suffice. It won't suffice. It's not enough. Not for 5, 6, 7, 8,000. For 100, maybe. But why? Why even for 100? Because of time reasons? If this person gets this subpar measurement, they're gonna come back with complaints. They're not gonna say, oh, I got some issues in 4,000 hertz. They're gonna say, well, I don't understand this. Here it's too loud. Here it's too quiet. Here it's not clear. What the heck? It says Rolls Royce, but everything is bumpy. There's no comfort. How is that a Rolls Royce? You're gonna readjust. That's time. you can invest the time in the beginning and save on readjustments. How? Last question. How? And that's the thing. So many times when I talk about real ear measurement, what do I hear? Well, why do an objective measurement when we are subjectively perceiving, feeling humans? We are subjective. You're absolutely right, but there's a bunch of things. First of all, if the sound waves that hit your ear in a not optimally balanced manner, it will subjectively sound bad and you will subjectively not understand as well as you could. But then there's also, as demonstrated in the procedure just before, there's the advantage of exactly knowing what happens at the eardrum and then basing your subjective fitting on it. Because, easy example, imagine you're designing your own house. Great, that's subjective, right? There's some subjectively beautiful houses. Would you not want it to be built on an objectively verified foundation? Or you're just gonna check, yeah, that looks like even ground. That's good. It's sand, it's quicksand, but it's even right now. In a few months, your house is gone. Your hearing aid fitting is okay right now. In a few months, the experience is completely messed up. It's at least not worth the money that they paid. The main takeaway, I think, should be that just in order to provide the best performance to price ratio, this is essential. It's a non-negotiable. No matter if you're fitting the cheapest or the most expensive hearing aid in your portfolio. What is a Rolls Royce worth if you have different sized wooden wheels on it and everything is bumpy and there's no comfort? Would you rather not just get a Volkswagen, a Fiat Punto with a great mechanic who fits everything perfectly and you have a smooth ride? You actually have higher living quality with the latter. And isn't that exactly what we strive for as hearing aid acousticians, as audiologists, as hearing care practitioners, whatever you want to call it? The title also doesn't matter. If the result is bad, I don't care about what it says on the paper, right? If it's great, I also don't care. I just say thank you, okay? Especially as someone affected. Thank you very much for your attention. And if you have any questions, any feedback, any yeses, any nos, let me know.